We had such potential, such promise. But we squandered our gifts. And so, 9, I am creating you. Our world is ending. Life must go on. Sometimes fear is the appropriate response.
We awakened something.
Something terrible.
Nine, you shall protect the future.
Hello and welcome to Merlin Reviews. Today we'll be discussing 9, aka Fallout for Children, provided by Tim Burton and other like-minded people. Based on an earlier released short film, the movie follows 9 tiny cybernetic creatures who appear to be the only survivors in a post-apocalyptic world. The youngest of them, the title character 9, believes there is a reason for their existence and seeks to discover the mystery behind their creation, with the hope to save what is left of the world from the evil machines that wander the wastelands. That synopsis is rather brief, because that's really the basis for the whole story. The best thing about 9 is perhaps the most obvious aspect of it. Well, visually, it's just awesome. The amount of detail to the creatures and backgrounds is just fantastic. Everything looks very good with that distinctive, gothic, steampunk vibe. However, I think that the story is perhaps a bit too simplified, or maybe just underdeveloped. I think keeping us in the dark about what caused the current state of the world in the film helps for an ominous atmosphere, but not too much more is learned about it to the resolution of the film. The reason for the 9 creatures' purpose is mostly metaphorical until the end of the movie, and even then, many specifics are left open to interpretation. The movie is light on plot, but I'll admit that the twist actually really elevated it for me. We learn that the scientist that created these beings originally designed a machine for the government he was working for, based purely on his own intellect, for military purposes. In classic sci-fi fashion, machines turned on us and destroyed the world. With humanity nearing its end, the scientist felt the only way to preserve the essence of human life was to divide his soul into 9 separate entities, each representing an aspect of his personality. Think Horcruxes from Harry Potter, but with more individual personality. In this sense, the last continuing battle on our dying planet isn't really between armies, or even man and machine, but the internal conflict of the last human being brought into physical manifestation. One of my biggest issues with the movie was that, despite decent voice acting, most of the characters, well, they didn't really feel like characters. The most fleshed out of them, and the one I think I identified the most with, was 1. Voiced by Christopher Plummer, 1 was obviously the first made, and seemed to represent the scientist's fears, perhaps brought about by his life experiences, and provides my favorite line from the movie: "Sometimes fear is the appropriate response." The symbolism is obvious, but provides the most interesting conflict in the movie. 9, being the youngest and most full of hope, and perhaps the most naive, is the main usurper of authority to the old ways of 1. This generational conflict is at the heart of what often starts and continues the cycles of conflict humanity often deals with. Also, there are some pretty obvious religious allusions. 1 wears a hat similar to a bishop or pope. He chooses to follow one particular path, and uses it to maintain the status quo, whereas 9 sees a different interpretation and follows a new path. This subjugation of authority, combined with the religious elements, is perhaps the most interesting conflict in the film for me. Both the oldest and youngest want to save their people, but want to go about it in completely different ways. Much like all the other characters, each aspect of a person by itself can lead to a dangerous path. The best way to survive is balance, and a union of multiple perspectives. This is useful for both individuals and groups. Also, the idea that our humanity is ultimately more of a strength for hope is a simple yet useful message. As I said before, I felt the characters were underdeveloped for much of the film, but when you realize what they are, it kind of works. However, they could have still been fleshed out more, as could other things. For instance, if the machine wanted to suck all the pieces of the scientist's soul back within itself, wouldn't it just be the scientist again? Or for that matter, wouldn't it be better to have gathered all the creations together so they could be activated at the same time and hear the message at the same time, therefore better ensuring his plan? Oh, and the symbolism was cool, but how do the pieces of one man's soul cause the clouds to start pouring non-toxic rain? Anyway, I think the concept is cool and the visuals are stunning, but the characters and plot points could have definitely used a bit more development. Overall, though, it's worth seeing for the originality of the concept and the visual aesthetic, if nothing else. I leave it with a B. Alright everyone, until next time, stay magical.
When we woke in this world, it was chaos. Man and machine attacked each other with fire and metal.
I found others. There's a path ahead.
Follow me. The gas killed everything. I led us here to Sanctuary, and here we waited for the war to end. Slowly, the world became silent. The only thing that remains now is the beast. So we stay hidden, and we wait for it, too, to sleep.
But where did it come from? Why is it hunting us?
Questions like that are pointless. We need to protect ourselves, keep ourselves out of danger. Too many of us have already been lost.
But he isn't lost. Why aren't you listening to me?
Who chose his own path? I suggest you avoid making the same mistake. Go to the watchtower and take our guest with you.